Hey, hey, everybody. I'm Ronnie,
Hello, and I'm Jenny, and we are the
the
Heart
Heart and
and
Soul
Soul
Sisters.
Sisters.
Oh, so close.
I was trying to read your lips. There's still that blasted delay. Hey, this is what you get when you know you're using your laptop to record, right?
Right, exactly, exactly.
We do not
Oh,
have a high dollar studio, but that's okay because
no, that's
one's
all right.
very it's like we're sitting down having our coffee together, which, we do, and
Yes, yes,
and talking. So,
yes, absolutely. So today we're going to talk about Reiki and energy work and what
yeah.
that's been like for us.
Woohoo.
So, and I think we didn't talk about this, but I think that since you're the one that had the earliest experience and you're the one that brought me into this, maybe you should start and talk about
Okay, cool.
how you encountered Reiki.
Yeah, so my first experience with Reiki was when I was a nurse practitioner student at Vanderbilt in Nashville. And I was in community health nursing, and there were about 10 of us assigned to our community health nursing instructor. And her name was Joan, and I'm drawing a blank on her last name right now, but she worked with a live hospice. She had her own Reiki private practice too. And we had just had, presentations about different healing touch modalities and talking about, we are all energy. And, we've all been, at that point, all the students had been trained in chemistry and all that stuff. So we're like, yeah, we get it. Atoms, form everything. Energy is the base of all living life and non-living life. It's a base of all matter in our universe that we know of. And so when she offered to do a Reiki demonstration, um, most of the students stood around looking at each other,
Well, it
and
is
and I
the
was,
Bible Belt, right?
yeah, yeah, it was the South, so but we had some more progressive thinkers, I think, in our class, but I think people were just really nervous because none of them had had any direct experience with Reiki, nor had I. So I was in the middle, and that was a time when I was in that place of I was deciding to cut off contact with our parents and brother,
Right.
which was I was in a lot of pain, and I was in graduate school.
Yeah.
So, and I had two little kids, and so it was really I was in a very painful place, and actually my studies were kind of a way for me to just really um just bury myself in work, in my work, and gave me so much other things to think about that I was able to set aside, that denial that we were so good at from our
Mm-hmm.
training, growing up in our home, that I compartmentalized my life a lot at that point. And anyway, so no one volunteered, and I said, sure, I'll go, and I had one of the most profound experiences up to that point in my life. I laid on the table, and she said, I just want you to be very comfortable. And she didn't really ask me a lot of questions. She just said, I'm just going to start on your energy body. So she started, like, 3, 4 feet away from me, and was talking her way and telling the other classmates what she was feeling for. And she nailed it. She had everything so right about my disconnection from the pelvic region down, that I wasn't grounded well. I mean, I just remember the highlights of, and I was like, wow. She's talking about the disconnection I had with my root and sacral chakras, and that she felt that there wasn't really good energy flow there, and that she had just all this activity up, and she just felt like, wow, you just got a lot of activity and a lot of energy just shooting out of my third eye and my crown. And that she said, I'm feeling that you have a lot of migraine headaches. And oh my gosh, I was like, yeah. And so she was describing all of this through her hands, and the energy she was feeling from my energy body. She got to the throat chakra and said, I haven't felt a blockage this restrictive in, she said, I'm not sure when. And she said, I need to clear. There's a lot of built up stagnant energy there. And as she started clearing, the tears, and this was back in a time, Ronnie, you remember, you want to cry, I'll give you something to cry about, was the phrase we grew up with. So we didn't cry. I was not a crier. Oh, I am now, but I was not a crier then. And the tears just started flowing as she was working on this, and she was telling me that my voice, she said it almost feels like someone who's been strangled. She said, you feel like the energy is so blocked in this area, and it's been from repeated trauma. And as I'm laying there, and the students are all, and I can't help it, I'm crying. Not sobbing crying, but a crying that I could not stop. I mean, my eyes were waterworks. And then when she got to after she worked there for a while, I started to feel heat. Then when she got over my heart chakra, she said the same thing. She said similar things about how there was tremendous. She said, you are a person that has so much love to give. She said, and you have had some serious wounds to your heart chakra. And I went through all that, and that's when I started sobbing. It was just uncontrollable. And of course I was like, I don't know what this is. She said, it's okay. Just let it. It's energy being released that needs to be released. And she said, some of this energy is not your energy. And I laid there and sobbed. And then the stomach got to my stomach, and she went into same thing. That so much of my energetic wounds have gone to my stomach. And she said,
that makes perfect sense to me.
Oh yeah. And she said, it feels like you have had, she said, yes, she said, and she was like with her hands, she's doing, and she started way up here, and then slowly got, closer through the session. And this was probably a 30-minute session that she worked on me. And then went into the wounds in my, the wounds that affected my GI tract. And she said, this feels like this has been here for a very long time, since you were a young child. Yeah. And I was like, and I said, yes, I've been vomiting ever since I can remember. And then the intermittent constipation, diarrhea, whatever, the GI just mess. And it was just really a profound experience. And, of course, afterward, I was just like, I said, and of course I apologized. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't normally cry. And she said, never apologize for release of energy. She said, that's a very healthy response. And she said, and she said, you needed to have some of these old stagnant energies and wounds released, energetic wounds released. And the whole class, was very supportive. And of course she gave me a big hug, and I was blown away. I was totally blown away. And so I thought at that moment, it kind of freaked me out, because I wasn't expecting that at all. I was thinking, oh, my neck kind of hurts. My neck and shoulders hurt from carrying, the kids, and carrying these heavy backpacks with all these books. And, back in the day before we had laptops and tablets. And yeah, so I have no idea what I was in for, but I was so blown away. I said, okay, there is so much to this. I mean, it's not that I didn't have an understanding in these healing, healing touch and healing modalities were valid, and it's just like prayer, right? We know that when we pray from our little space where we're at, I mean, we are connected energetically to the hearts of everyone. We all come from the same source. And so, when we pray for somebody on the other side of the world, we are sending energy to them. We are sending energy of love and healing, and they are receiving it. And so Reiki is just another one of those healing modalities. But I was so hooked in that. I was so intrigued by it. I was so moved by it that it kind of freaked me out, because at the time I wasn't ready to go down that road. I was still learning, my pharmacology and my, all that science, advanced practice stuff. And but I knew that I wanted to study Reiki at some point. Yeah. And it seemed like every time, because that was when, Abby and Nika were just little toddlers. And so, so I had my third baby, and my master's year finished, my last year, and Genevieve, and then I was invited by somebody that they said, oh, there's Reiki 1 and 2 training this weekend somewhere. And it was a friend. And I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. But I'm like, I don't think I'm still breastfeeding. I don't think I can't be away from the baby. So I had opportunities along the way to study Reiki with friends and other people that were interested, but it just never worked out. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we were meant to do that together. Yeah. And so I would never
have done it without you.
And look what it's done.
Well, and it was so funny because
we did this.
We were on a phone call. This training we did was in October of 2012, and so we're on the phone. You say, I've been trying to do this Reiki training, and I've done all this research, and I found this guy. I got the guy. He's the guy to do the training with. And I had this friend here. We were going to go, and it fell through, and I want to go again, and now she can't do it. And
it was in Detroit.
It was in the Detroit area where we grew up, and my in-laws were still living. And so she said, how would you like to come? You said, how would you like to come for the weekend, and you can stay with your in-laws, and then I'll meet you at night after the class. And I remember distinctly, I have no idea why I said this, but I said, well, actually, I do, because, anytime I can spend time with you is I'm going to take that opportunity. So I said, no, I'll do the workshop with you. What's Reiki? I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I still laugh about that.
And you're so analytical. And I was like, oh my gosh, Patty's going to do this with me. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, this is going to be so good for you. It's going to be so good for both of us. It's going to be so great. And it was. We just had.
It was, but I still went in with sort of a skeptic's analytical left brain, mind. It's like, okay. Yeah. Dazzle me, right? Show me something good. I was trying not to be like a prove it to me, but there was an element of that in it. It's like, I don't know what this is. And of course the room was full of people, some of whom had taken other Reiki classes, but wanted to come to see, we were with William Lee Rand, and he's the guy, so they were redoing their Reiki training. And they were a little out there for me. To be honest,
but they were
lovely people. Yeah, there were some nurses in there. There were, just a range of people. But I did feel like I was out of my element, and I did not know what I had gotten myself into. When I walked in.
And then we worked with Carlo was he from Argentina? I'm trying to remember.
Brazil.
Okay.
He and his niece and nephew were there. Yeah.
They were beautiful. They were just amazing people.
Yeah.
And he was very psychic.
Yeah.
And so he worked with us, and it's really cool. I think you work with who you're meant to,
Yeah.
And he worked with both of us and gave us some. What was the psychic?
He said
insight that he saw when we were doing shared Reiki together.
Yes. When we were sharing Reiki with him. He said to me, I see you at a fork in the road, like you have a choice to make. You're standing there at the fork in the road deciding which way you're going to go. And I've thought about that many, many times, including not too long ago, When he says that, it's like, wow, it was this big flat Y going almost in opposite directions. And I decided to, because my experience was nothing like super major profound happened in that first class. I had some physical sensations associated with the Reiki, and it wasn't like majorly. It wasn't like your experience. Okay, it wasn't anything like what you described. It wasn't anything that dramatic, but it was interesting to me, and I kind of put to good use the sort of act as if until you get there, like the fake it till you make it sort of thing, like we had in our early recovery. Okay, I'm going to pretend I'm normal until I actually get to the point where I feel normal and I can act normal.
Right.
So I was kind of doing that. I was kind of like, okay, I'm just going to go along with whatever's happening. So we started by smudging the room. It's like, smudging. Oh, okay. What's smudging? Let me, So I was just trying to go with it and see what happened. But it was when we did the second round, the advanced Reiki training. 6 months later. That was,
Yeah.
and you came out here to New York because William does them in different places.
Right. Where was that? Was near
Glens
Sarasota? I
Glens
can't.
Falls, Glens Falls. So
That's
it's
right.
about two
Oh,
hours
that
from
was
where I am.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was where I had my profound. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is real. This is like I can't
ART,
describe it. It's
Reiki,
yes,
and aura
yeah.
clearing. That aura
It was the
clearing
aura
was
clearing. So we
whoa.
you talked about neck and shoulders, right? I've had a neck and shoulder problem since college, and I have had these episodes where, well, it's always tight, right? Been spending my whole life, my whole adult life, constantly stretching my head back and forth and side to side and this way. Like if I'm just sitting still, I would start stretching my neck because it was so tight all the time. To check my blind spot, I'd have to move my entire body to get, I just had very little range of motion. And I would have these episodes where something would just snap like a rubber band. And the one time that was so ridiculous, I remember being in the shower and I reached up to scrub the shampoo in my hair, and something just went whah, and I was like, I can't move. Oh my God.
Ouch.
And it happened to be spring break in school, and I spent a week on a heating pad and muscle relaxers trying to get my neck to stop. And it was the worst of it was usually right in the right shoulder blade, like the middle of the back, but on the edge of that right shoulder blade. And so it would come and go. And when we went to that class, that training, the second set of trainings we did with William, we were in this
master teacher.
yes, yes. We were in this big room because it was in the hotel that we had it, and he had set chairs up in a circle big enough for us to have some space between us and for all of us to fit. And there were maybe 35 people in that group, not 30, something like that. Anyway, so if you're thinking about William as being 12 o'clock, I chose a chair at about 10 o'clock, and so I had to turn my head at a particular angle to be able to see him straight on. And I distinctly remember, like about 20 minutes into it, you were on my right, away from William, and I turned to you and I said, I am not going to make it. I cannot sit like this. I have an excruciating pain sitting with just and 20 minutes, just my head in that position, turned like on a 45-degree angle. And so I'm, doing the whole stretch my neck out thing, and then he taught us the aura clearing, right? This idea that you could have an issue or a problem or something that's bothering you that can be lodged in your energy field, and
yes,
that there's a blockage in your energy field that's it can be a physical issue, it can be an emotional issue, it can be both, pieces of both.
Oftentimes both.
Yes, oftentimes both. So, so you said you would work on me first, and you said, what do you want to work on? I want to work on this thing in my back. And so, they ask you, what's the color? What's the shape? Is it heavy or light? What's the texture? Like, there's this big black sticky glob right there that won't let go in my back. I don't like it. Do something about it. And so, again, it's like kind of act as if, okay, let's see what happens. And you started working on me, and
you have to ask the person, are you ready to release this?
Right.
And they have to say,
are you ready
yes.
to release it? You have to be ready to release it. And it can be, as you're working on it, it can just start to loosen. And I was feeling that. I was feeling it loosen as you were working on it. And all of a sudden, whatever it was, that dark, globby, sticky plug in my energy field released. And it was
funny because just working on you, I just got to say, your body was like shuddering. I mean, it was phenomenal to watch.
Wow.
To watch your body, it's like your muscles were rippling. It was bizarre. Yeah.
Well,
okay. Sorry.
I remember when it finally did release, and as you described in your early experience with Reiki, I wasn't like sobbing, crying, but just tears flowing. And I just remember you were standing next to me. I was sitting in a chair and just kind of leaning against you and just crying as that energy released. And that was the big, huge beginning layer. And there's been other things that have happened over time. And I'm now so free in my neck and shoulders. Like, the range of motion I have is unbelievable. And so the rational, analytical person if you had told me that you could do this crazy thing called aura clearing, where you work on my energy field and all of a sudden I can move like a real human again, I would not have believed it if I hadn't experienced it. It's
well, and
so
the rest
crazy.
of that weekend, and the rest of that weekend, you sat and you were good.
I was totally fine. I was totally fine. There was no problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And it was, and you worked on me, and I had a very similar release, of course, in the GI tract. It was like the GI tract, the heart, the throat. It was like all connected.
Yeah.
Go figure. And I had a very similar experience, and I just boohooed. Yeah, I couldn't stop myself. But it was just amazing how much lighter I felt after you did that first aura clearing on me. And that's something that we have done almost every time that we've gotten together.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, let's go do
some aura clearing. Could be some of that. It's like Phoebe from Friends when she would start going like this and pulling things, on. It's not quite like that, but it's that idea. It's like that there's stuff stuck in your energy field that you can feel it, right? You can sense it, but you don't know how to get rid of it. We've also had some really cool experiences. We've talked about Kripalu. We love Kripalu. We love to go there for their workshops and their programs and things. And they have a healing arts department where you could get facials and massages and energy work and Akashic record reading. Now they have, that's the newest thing.
Oh my gosh!
But they have integrated energy therapy, and I can remember a couple of times we've gone and done that, and the physical sensations that go along with that. I remember the first time I did it when you and I went together. This woman was working on me, and at one point it felt like, ooh, she's pulling something out of my crown. As I'm laying down there, like she's pulling something out. I can feel the physical sensations then coming out of my crown. And it's like, no, it's coming from the third eye. And just this slow realization, like it's moving down. I could feel it moving through each chakra until at the end, it was coming from my root, right? And it felt like somebody was like a sailor, with a giant thick rope and just hand over hand pulling all of this crap right out of me from the very core of my being until it just finally let go. And I said that to her. I gave her that visual when it was all over. I said, that's what it felt like when you were working. And she said, yeah, that was some old stuff in there.
And that's so funny because we had appointments at the same time, but with different practitioners, I think.
Yep.
And I had such a similar experience, and it was really funny. Only mine, it went the same thing. There was like a pressure building up, and the pressure building up was in the solar plexus, the heart, which is just below the sternum, the heart and the throat, but it all went down to the root as well, the root chakra. And then as she was pulling, and you literally felt like almost like a tension coming through your body, it literally built up pressure, and it felt like it shot out my left shoulder. It was bizarre. But when it finally felt like it released, that it was gone, I felt like I was almost levitating above the table. It was so amazing. And the same thing happened again. Tears just flowing. Yeah. Not crying. I wasn't crying, but the tears were just amazing. And she said the same thing. I said, oh my gosh. And when I told her what I was feeling, and then the tears came when I finally felt this huge release, and I couldn't stop the tears. Not that I was at that point trying
Who cares?
to.
Right.
And yeah, exactly. And she said, yeah, that was some old shit. It felt like it. Yeah. And I remember when we came back from that
oh yes,
Kripalu weekend, we said, okay, Jim, we got to tell you.
My husband.
Your husband, Jim.
Yeah.
Right? He's so awesome. And we said, okay. He said, Ronnie said, I'll make him a cocktail. I'll make us all cocktails, and we'll sit down and we'll. We
had margaritas. I remember distinctly. We had margaritas.
Because it's one of my favorite things.
And so he finished the last drop of his margarita, because it was just the three of us sitting there. And he put the glass down on the table with a thunk, and he says, okay, hit me.
He said, bring it on. And so
Because
they're like,
like
okay, you go first, and then
I
I'll
wouldn't
go.
have believed it if I hadn't experienced it myself. I would not have believed that such a profound physical sensation could be brought about without even touching me. I mean, it's all done within the energy field. So it's not, these none of these folks laid a hand on me. When you were doing the aura clearing, you didn't touch me.
Yeah.
You pulled it out of my energetic field. And so, all these things that we think of, I mean, here's my left brain coming back in, right, to talk about this. Because all these things that we think of as, for a long time, I've called myself, I've said I have a really high social and emotional intelligence. Like I can understand what's happening with people, sometimes what they're thinking, what's motivating them, why they might be behaving in certain ways. And I thought, what's my sociological training? It's like, no, it's intuition, because I had that long before I got my PhD in sociology.
Yes. Yes.
The you could be standing in line at a store and know the person behind you is upset without them saying anything, without looking at them, right? You can feel the vibes, right? Oh, I'm getting a vibe.
Oh my gosh.
That's because we have energy fields and because we're energetic beings, and just some of us are better at understanding that and tapping into it than others are. And I would challenge anybody out there who thinks that this is just crap and that we've gone off the deep end. Try it, and try it with an open mind, right? Try it. Say, I don't know what's going to happen, but let me seek out an energy practitioner of some sort, a Reiki practitioner or somebody doing something like that, and just see. Especially if you've got something in particular, emotional or physical, that you're working with, see what they have to offer, because it's been amazing, and like we said, the healing has been not just profound but permanent. Like that glob of whatever it was is gone. I don't have an issue, and there have been deeper layers of healing on top of that have brought me even better, mobility and so on. But I've never gone back.
And just look at where we are now as to where we were a decade ago. We both had chronic neck and shoulder pain. I had chronic low back pain. And I think every layer that you peel away from that onion, I mean, we both have gone to physical therapy, me multiple times, for the neck and low back pain issues.
Yep.
We tried all the healing modalities that we could think of.
Heating pads, and
oh yeah,
muscle relaxers,
and doing yoga, stretching, and all that stuff.
Yes.
But this took it to such a new level, another, that we couldn't address with those other modalities, right?
Yeah, right.
And we do this all the time. We send Reiki to each other all the time, to our children. We have our little soul tribe, we call ourselves.
Yes.
And we'll say, hey, please send me Reiki. I've got this going on today, or I've got that. And we trained our children because they were interested. They saw what we were doing, and we did Reiki share together on the kids when we get together, and they loved it. They were amazed at how great they felt after we did a combined Reiki share with them. So we trained them in Reiki 1 and 2, and we trained them in Holy Fire.
Yep.
And they absolutely loved it. So it's really changed, I think, the way that we relate to each other, and improved it in so many ways.
It has, and I'm dying to say that my husband Jim, who's a deep skeptic, but always willing to listen, right? Always very willing to listen and hear what we have to say, and take it in and consider it. He would get terrible headaches. I think they were tension headaches, but they weren't migraines per se. They didn't follow the classic migraine, but they were bad headaches, and sometimes they'd last for a couple of days. And I was anxious to try Reiki on him to see if that would help. And the Reiki didn't take away his headaches, but there have been many, many times where his head is just killing him, and he's trying to lay down and get some sleep. And I would give him Reiki, and he'd be out in just a couple of minutes. And now now it's gotten to the point where, because sometimes it'll be, like it'll intensify as we're going to sleep, and he'll lay down, he'll say, okay, hit me, give me your best shot, don't hold back, give me the good stuff, and I'll just put my hand right in the middle of his chest, and I'll send him Reiki as I'm laying next to him, and he'll go right out. So it definitely has a beautiful relaxing effect, and that also can help with healing whatever else is going on, underlying, whatever the underlying problem is. So So it's just been funny to see him sort of come to that place where he asked for it. It used to be, I would say, would you like me to give you some Reiki to help you relax? And he would say, sure, but now he'll even ask for it. So that's great.
You know, I just, as we're sitting here talking and you're sharing that, which I absolutely love to hear that, and I know we've shared that before, we've never done a combined aura clearing on Jim. I wonder if he would be interested in.
That's right.
To see if we could shift some of that for him, like we've released some of that stuck energy for ourselves. Those energy blockages. Yeah. I just
have to offer him that, see if he wants to do it.
Next time we get together.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool.
Because we've done that for the kids, and they really,
I think,
the
kids loved
it.
Yeah,
they loved it. So.
Well, okay. So now, if we still have any listeners left after we told them how crazy we are that we do all this energy stuff.
Oh my gosh! But it's so amazing. I mean, and we both have done. I mean, I know we're talking about Reiki today, but we both have done some training and had some experiences with reconnective healing with Dr. Eric Pearl. Through some of his practitioners, and so there are just
lots of modalities to try.
Oh my gosh, lots of amazing stuff. Yeah. And all of these, the thing about this is all of these healing modalities have been and are currently being scientifically researched. I mean,
there's lots of research on Reiki.
Pearls.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yep. And teaching hospitals,
and prayer, by the way.
Country.
There's lots of research on prayer that documents that prayer helps people heal, even if they don't know they're being prayed for. That's very
absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's amazing things out there, and there's so many wonderful resources that are available. You can go to Gaia TV, and there are a lot of these different things are there, and there's so much scientific research being done on this now. It's just, I think we are on the edge of just a huge transformation in our consciousness and our our ability to step into a higher level of love and healing on our energy body that is just amazing.
Yeah, higher level of well-being overall.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically.
Ecumenically.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. That's our Pirates of the Caribbean reference. We love that line. Oh gosh! All right. Yeah, we do. That's an awesome film. Oh well, we hope that if this is something that's brand new to you, and we've said anything that piqued your curiosity, that you will give yourself permission to try it and to explore.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you have to, do it under assumed name, rent a car so no one can see your license plate at the Reiki practitioner's office. But it just try, just explore, just experiment.
Open minds, open hearts, right?
Exactly.
There's so much available to us to help us, to help us be the best version of ourselves and to live a joyful life. Oh my gosh! And so we just have to open our eyes and look.
You won't know what'll help you unless you try it. So.
Absolutely.
This has been fun. Good to see you.
Yes, I've had a blast. Oh, always wonderful to see you, my beautiful sister.
Yes, you're so kind. Well, if you have any comments for us, please feel free to leave them. We'd love to know what you think. We got lots of venues to do that on our website, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram. All of our contact stuff is at the beginning of the video and the podcast. So until next time, sending you lots of love and light.
And so many blessings.
So many blessings. There's lots of them out there for you. Just got to notice them. Absolutely. So next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.